Hey folks, my guest today is Chris Vetter. He founded HRForecast.com in 2014 with his co-founder. Before joining the company, he gained interdisciplinary industry experience in various financial and planning roles. He brings with him comprehensive cross-industry experience in solving problems in complex, fast-moving environments and studied business administration at the Technical University at Ingolstadt. All right, Chris, you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, let's do it, Nathan.
All right, so HR Forecast is playing sort of the people analytics SaaS space. Help me understand how a customer is using you.
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yeah, help me understand how a customer is using you guys.
Okay, sure. So, well, in the end, HR people, they love to work with people, and we teach them how to also work with data. So basically, our whole business model is around enabling our clients to use their data that they have collected about their people, and also combining that with the data that we bring in from the outside, which we have collected about their people, their industries, their competitors, etc. Combine that, and then basically there are many use cases how they can use it.
Interesting. And are you enabling HR managers to give their teams like personality tests and things to understand how to manage them?
Not really. That's not so much our space. We're more working on skills. So we would consider ourselves a skill company. We basically provide algorithms so that they can explore what knowledge they have on board from all that unstructured data they have lying around. We also bring in algorithms that tell them what skills will be required in the future, what kind of jobs they would need for the business model. So it's more about connecting the business side of things with the human resources dimension, combining that, translating it. So what skills, what jobs does my business model require? And then looking inside, where are the people located right now that have this knowledge? Or how can I train them? How can I teach them? And where can I find them if I don't have them on board?
Understood. And what's a company going to pay you on average per month to use this technology?
It really depends because we don't have one SaaS product, but we have two of them, and we also have a kind of different revenue model with where they get access to our data platform. So when we usually talk about yearly revenues rather than monthly revenues, and it would be between 20 to 200,000 per company on average.
But your largest customer is paying about $200,000 a year.
Actually more, but just like a 90% quartile.
It sounds like you have a massive sort of distribution. There's a lot of really big ones. How big is the biggest? Don't name them, obviously, but are we talking like $1 million contract? Or?
No, unfortunately, no. It's 300,000 euros.
Okay, fair enough. And you're upselling across three separate sort of product ideas and product lines, which is people analytics services, strategic workforce planning, and then the talent marketplace platform, correct?
Exactly. And we call it knowing the future, which is the data platform where we bring in our external insights, planning the future, where it's about combining that external data with the strategic workforce plan, and then building the future, where it's about making sure the employees they have are equipped with the right skills, knowing, planning, building.
Now, when did you launch this company?
Sorry, again?
When did you launch?
2014 was the founding date. It was me and my co-founder Florian, bootstrapped up until today. But the initial idea already started in 2010 when we were just finished with university, coming from Siemens, which is the largest German corporate, coming from the finance and controlling departments. We were all about numbers, and then we realized HR people, we need to have some tools on hands to plan, to work with data. So that's how we all got into this HR domain. Took us 4 years to figure that out. And then in 2014, we finally got our first paying client. So we decided let's make a living from that.
Where did the first paying customer come from?
That's a good question. It's a long time ago. I think it was just, talking to people, advertising ourselves. And then it was like, sorry?
Nothing specific then, just your network. There was no campaign.
Not really. Back then it was kind of trial and error. I mean, we've been doing that for 4 years already then, like as a hobby. So we were looking into different clients here and there, doing some stuff for free. And then in the end, it was like an project for 18,000 euros or so. So it was not too big, but it was fun. It was the first one.
Yeah, that's good. So that's your first customer. Now, how many customers are you serving today?
Well, so far we've served over 500 clients. I would say right now around 100.
Okay.
So
the 400 that have churned, why have they left?
they didn't really churn, but they are not in our SaaS model. So they would just come to us here and there on demand with so that the data platform. So if they're not in our SaaS model or they don't have these continuous yearly plans with us, they basically would do it on demand. So they didn't really churn. I mean, some of them for sure did, but most of them, they come back from time to time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Now you mentioned you raised capital. How much have you raised?
No, we have not raised capital.
Okay, great. Well, that's even better. So I thought you said you were bootstrapped until today. So what you meant is you are
still, yeah.
Okay,
yes.
I love that. Now, can I take 100 customers on your SaaS platform at like that $20,000 ACV? That's the minimum. And you guys are doing north of 2 million in revenue at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you think you can break this year? What's like a stretch goal for this year?
3.5, 4. Let's see.
You think you'll hit it?
It has been really good for us this year.
So you're on track.
Growing model, so it's difficult to plan. But since, as you know, the bigger deals, if the big deals comes in, then it might be just right.
Mm-hmm. So if we're at sort of around that sort of 2.53 million run rate today, help us understand growth. Where were you exactly 1 year ago?
Minus 50%.
Oh, wow. So you've gotten 50% year-over-year growth. How are you getting new customers?
Yeah, that's a very good question. No, actually, now we know that it's about 70 to 80% is success management. So we work mostly with really large global companies. And obviously, if you have one touch point, you can get many more, right? They're global, different locations, different business units. So most of them we just build from the inside. So that's around 70, 80% of new clients, even though they come from existing client companies. And then we do a lot with partners here and there. So big consultancies that would buy our services to make it like tool based what they do. And then some also come from Google Ads and congresses, even though they're virtual nowadays. So these are the 4 main sources. And of course, word of mouth is also very important. Yeah.
Do you incentivize the consultants that sell your product with a commission?
Depends. Mostly, actually, no. We're open. I mean, we're very flexible how to do business, but mostly no, because they have their traditional business model, and we bring in the tools where they can build their consulting around, because we are not interested. Right? It's not scalable. It's not our core business. So we bring in the tools, they do the consulting. So the pie is usually large enough that we both can have plenty of fun.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about your team, Chris. How many folks?
Roughly 50, like 48, 49. I would have to look it up.
And how many engineers?
30, 35.
They're very, very heavy engineering then.
Yes, we love inventions and innovations. Yeah, it's what we really love to do.
And how many quota-carrying sales reps?
3. Well, including myself, 3.5. So, but 2 of them we just hired actually in April, so they're still in the onboarding phase.
Well, tell me more about that. This is something SaaS founders struggle with: is how to incentivize their first sales hire. Do you give them a quota?
Yes, we do.
And so, can I ask? I mean, obviously, what's the quota? Like $1 million quota in the first year, or something else?
It's a little lower. It's depends on the experience level. So junior, senior. For a senior would be around 750, and that would
first year.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be like a 50% recurring, 50%. We call it project based, which is like the data model. They will not be churned, but they would be coming back and ideally jump into a SaaS model later on. So 50-50.
And you mentioned consultants, Google Ads, your inside sales team. When you add up all these expenses to come up with your CAC to get a new customer, what are you spending to get a customer?
A lot of time for sure. So I mean, it's easy for Google Ads to calculate this number, but maybe what helps is our cost of sales are around 15%. But I think what's even more critical is not the spending, because getting a client, to be honest, is really easy with the stuff we do, because everybody wants to know what are the future jobs and skills. But getting them really in our recurring model with the SaaS, that's more challenging, and the biggest challenge is time rather than the money. Of course, time translates into money, but it does take easily over 1 year sometimes to get a big account, because they're just like global companies with very long decision cycles.
And what's your churn, Chris? We're at revenue churn.
We don't measure that, to be honest. I mean, we have around 70% of the clients that we do business with, they would come back. A bit more, I think now.
Yeah, got it. So maybe 30% churn annually. Again, we're just talking about your SaaS product because you have the other on-demand product.
For SaaS, it's let's keep it like this. It's really, we didn't really measure that hard yet. Since we are bootstrapped, and we kind of have our own metrics in place.
What are some of your own metrics?
Well, the most important metric is the overall sales, because for us, sales is the most important value. Then other metrics we have is the customer net promoter score, how they like it, because we know we think more like an ecosystem. So if they buy one product from us, they would most likely come back some later time. So our tracking isn't too professional yet when it's about monthly recurring revenues, churn, but mostly how happy were they, how many projects have we done with them, and in the end, are they on a limited model, like that we risk losing them for a certain period of time, or do we have them already on a continuous model?
Does your expansion revenue in your bigger accounts more than make up for the 30% annual churn?
Yeah, so far, yes. I mean, we have grown 50% last year, so
but not including but that includes new customers you've added. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, as I said, most of the new customers, a lot of them come from existing clients, since they're huge global companies. So I would say
these aren't new customers. You're expanding into different departments.
Yeah. Also,
Interesting.
It's like a combination.
What percent of, like, you grew 50%? How much of that came from expansion versus bringing on brand new customers altogether, would you say?
I think last year was a lot of new customers because we got really strong in the pharma industry. So if you asked me 1 year ago, we had like one pharma client. Now we have, I think, the 5 biggest pharma companies in Germany are probably our clients. So we kind of go industry by industry, and I think it's kind of when they're ready for these kind of questions, they would look around and see who can support them. So it has been a lot of new industries, and therefore a lot of new clients last year. But typically, I would say it's around 50-50.
Yep. That makes sense to me. Now, would you consider raising capital, or do you like staying bootstrapped?
Never say never. I mean, let's see. We are not pressured to do so. We're doing really good, but I mean, always keeping the eyes open.
Are you profitable today?
Yes. We've been profitable ever since, because that's how we grow. Yeah.
Do you pay dividends out to your team members from monthly profits?
No, we try to keep as much as we can in the company and reinvest it. Even the founders, we try to keep as much as we can in the company.
How many founders are there?
Well, originally we were 4 of them when we were still at Siemens, and in the end, 2 of us ended up at HRForecast. The other 2 stayed at Siemens in 2014, and they're still there, and we are still here.
Were you able to get their equity back in the company, or is it they still have equity but they're not operational?
The latter one, yeah.
Why is that? I mean, would you buy them out if the opportunity presented itself?
I mean, we 4 are best friends, so we don't really talk about that too much. But I mean, if it's time to talk about it, I guess since we're good friends, we'd go to a beer garden, have a few beers, and talk about it.
There's nothing wrong with making your friends rich. I mean, that would be a good thing.
That's I think what nobody would really then fight about. Yeah.
Well, out of curiosity, you're growing, 50, 60, or 100% year over year. You're at the 3 million run rate today. I mean, what would you value the company at?
I better don't judge. Hard to say. Really hard to say.
What makes it hard?
Well, these sums that you hear from like the investment volumes you see, and then the calculated values of companies you hear nowadays, it's kind of extreme. It's a bit crazy. Yeah. So I don't really believe in these valuations. I think the true value is sometimes really exaggerated. So I would be happy to go with those higher evaluations or valuations, but I wouldn't judge.
All right, Chris, let's wrap up with the famous five.
Let's say more than 1 million. Plenty more. let's see maybe.
Number one, what's your favorite business book?
I don't have a favorite business book.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Not really.
Okay.
Here and there.
What's your favorite online tool for building HR forecasts?
I would say it is actually virtual collaboration tools, Teams, Skype, talking. That's what you need.
Is there a particular tool you use? Skype, you said?
Well, our whole company runs on Microsoft software, so it's not the best one, but it works.
All right, number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Really depends. I would say between 6 to 7.
Okay, and what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
I am single, to be married soon, no kids.
Okay.
And one dog. And what's the last one?
How old are you?
Oh, that's 1987, so must be 33. Yes, turning 34 soon.
Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Take it even faster, not enjoying life too much when I was a student. And yeah, I mean, looking back at it already has been 7 years with HRForecast. Maybe we could have done it in a little bit shorter time.
Guys, HRForecast.com, HR managers use it to keep track of their team and help their team improve. They did 1.5 million in run rate about a year ago. They've grown now to 3 million run rate. They've done this all bootstrapped, serving north of 100 customers. They're profitable, a team of 48, heavy engineering, 35 engineers, as Chris and his co-founder that stayed on look to continue to build the business. Chris, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you very much for having me.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.